Kia ora. Hey, team. Just get this set up here. Hey, welcome. Welcome to Easter Camp. We've been working really hard to actually create an amazing space for you. And this year, for the first time ever, if you're from Central, put your hand up. Massive welcome to Central. We're so excited that you've joined us this year, and we hope you have an amazing time. Our home is your home for the year, and we hope that God does amazing things in your life. I'm Blue. For those of you who don't know me, I've been doing this for a long time. It's my privilege to be the director again this year, so I get to actually speak to you guys tonight, and one of the things I get to do is speak to the theme of camp, and this year the theme is Let There Be Light. Yeah? And if you know anything about my favorite gospel, the Gospel of John, and there's all these sort of things called dichotomies, the opposites of something, you know? And light and darkness is a really big thing in the Gospel of John. You know, there's other things that are, the opposites of, like the absence of sound is silence. But you can't measure silence. You don't go home and say, oh man, it was really silent, man. My ears are ringing, type thing. You can't measure silence. The opposite of heat is cold. The opposite of love is maybe fear or hate and stuff. But the opposite of light is darkness. And they, you know who they are, they say that darkness doesn't actually exist. Do you know that? Light exists, you can measure it, it travels in it, but darkness doesn't exist. That's weird. Because if you're anything like me, and I think you are, if you're brave enough, you can put your hand up. Who here is scared of the dark? No, I'll ask one more time. Who here is scared of the dark? Be proud, put your hand up. How can you be scared of something that doesn't exist? And yet you do, right? When I was your age, I was so scared of the dark that if I had to walk home, I walked in the middle of the road. Yeah? Because in the middle of the road, you can actually have time to see the zombies coming at you. You never walked on the sidewalk because those scary hedges and over the fences, zombies and vampires, that's where they lived, and they were going to get you. And whatever else the rubbish I was filling my mind up with. So how can we be scared of something that doesn't exist? Nah, I like the light. I love the light. I love the way the light plays in nature. Here's a couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege of baptizing my kids, my wife and I, and early in the morning, I got up and the light was playing with nature in the sunrise. And here's this thing, it's just from my phone. It's not a great photo, but it's a great photo to me. You see, all of nature loves the light. Nature craves the light. We all crave the light. Nature bends its will towards the light. And the first thing in the morning when the sun comes up, because it's on the angle on the earth and it's trying to send its rays right across the horizon, the blues and the greens drop out of it, and what we're left with is reds and this warm sort of orange glow. I love nature playing with the light. A few months ago, I was at a bonfire at my mate's house, and we're sitting around talking around this bonfire. And then I saw coming above the house, this big, full, fat-faced moon. And I went, oh, man, look at that halation. And my mate said, what's a halation? You just made that word up, eh? You know? And I said, no, halation's that kind of ring around. Who's seen that before? Yeah? It's pretty cool, eh? It's pretty freaky. It's when the light reflected by the moon hits the cold particles in the atmosphere, and it bends on a 22 degrees angle, and it creates an illusion of a ring. They call it a moon ring or a moon halo, you know? And I love it. And the halation is more of a photography term about light crossing past the natural boundaries. You see it in a photo on a TV or on a neon sign. And this photo was taken a couple of days ago by the production team. The cross out there, carved and the moon coming up. It's pretty cool. So, halation comes from the word halo. And if you try to actually research halo today, you got this game that you guys play? Your generation watches? Yeah. But a halo is a really old term. It's a term that people used to see in pictures, and it was like a ring around somebody's head, you know? They called it a nimbus or a crown of glory, a crown of light, yeah, a halo. And so why they did this, back in the day, after Jesus walked the planet, he walked the earth, artists would try and draw a picture of Jesus. And the thing that they tried to do was find the lightness that came out of his being and people who they deemed holy. They tried to draw it, and the best thing they could come up with was a halo, a ring around their head of light that just encapsulated the kind of life that they were living. Yeah? You've seen these photos? For centuries, people have done paintings like this. Quite a few years ago now, me and my mates, we got together and we thought, man, we want to change the world. We want to move into a neighborhood that didn't want to belong, they didn't have any pride, and we moved in and we lived together and we did cool things that loved people. And we did cooking classes and we did street parties, and we opened a cafe, a space of belonging that people could come to and belong in the neighborhood, get some community pride. That little cafe was a 16-seater, it turned into an 80-seater, and then it turned into a 200-seater. And right in the heart of Auckland, the Morningside, there's this cafe called Crave, and that's where we hang out. And we want to love our neighborhood. Now, when we moved into the big cafe, there was a story one day of a man. Back up. I went to the cafe one day, and it was absolutely pumping. There was people everywhere. I couldn't stand. I just had to stand and just like, whoa. There's so many people in the cafe. It was just uncomfortable. And I saw this dude on the stage, and he comes up, walks on past, and goes, bro, I like your tattoo. And I said, oh, thank you, man. I like it myself. You don't want to get a tattoo that you don't like. It's really weird. Anyway, I look at him, and he takes off, and then I go down to the basement of the cafe. We're running this ethical craft market, selling products for Christmas that people can buy, and there's a whole container full of them out there. Go and check them out, of bands and bags and T-shirts and what have you. And that was cool. And I see this dude come down the driveway, and he's looking in there, and he sees me, and he walks straight over to me, And he said, mate, this place is going off, right? And I said, yeah. No, it's really, really good. And he gives me the stare. You know the stare that people sort of just look, and the brow goes down, and he goes, can I pick straight up with you? I said, yeah, bro. Like, totally. And he said, so I'm not from here. I'm from New York. And I'm over here for some work, and I leave next week. And so I use the gym around the corner. And I finished my gym work. I get in my car, and I drive around the corner from your cafe. And all I see is light pouring out of your cafe. This cafe, sorry, not my cafe. This cafe. Light. And I had to stop. I pulled over. I parked the car. I had to come back, and I had to see what this light was. And I was thinking to myself, man, that week, me and my friends, we prayed right through that place for Jesus to be present in this very place. There's nothing sacred about the ground until you pray it in and make it sacred. And I was just laughing within myself, going, yeah, I know what that light is, And then he said, I went out onto the deck, I went out onto the fireplace, I went upstairs into the library, I went onto the stage, and there was light everywhere coming out of this cafe. And I'm thinking, yeah. And then I see you. And then the light that I saw in the cafe is just pouring out of you. And I just felt so awkward. And there's lightning bolts kind of come out of my fingers or something, sort of like that. And he just really seriously looks at me and he goes, tell me what the light is. I want to know what the light is. When I saw you walk in, the same light coming out of you, you must be one of the people, and there's many people, behind this place. What do you think I say to the guy? I could only say to him, man, there's this person called Jesus, and he changed my life, And if you've seen anything of light come out of me, it's nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with him. And I just talked to him about who Jesus was. He was just amazed. Because if you know me, you know that I come from real brokenness. And there's a lot of brokenness in my life. I'm not all that, And I've got lots of cracks. Yeah, you just ask anybody who knows me, they're really obvious. But you see, that's the trick, eh? That's where the light gets in the cracks, not when you got it all together. And so I talked to him about the light that Jesus gives. Where's that moon photo? Here's the thing that we all know about the moon. The moon has no ability to create light, right? At best, the moon can only reflect the light of the sun, and it shines a path for us. Yeah? And it's the same with us. We reflect the light of the sun, the light that gets in the cracks and the brokenness in our lives and transforms something of our lives into something. The thing about light is when you've got a light and you're actually creating a path with your light and you illuminate the path that you're traveling on with light, it illuminates the path for everyone else as well. That's the cool thing about the light of Jesus. So what does Jesus have to say about this? In John, it says, when Jesus spoke again to his people, he said this thing, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. This is what this dude was seeing, right? Light of life. This is other path. So I was in Israel with my wife a few years ago, and we're on this mountain near the Sea of Galilee. And we're looking over, and there's this little city on a hill right next to this place. And this is the place, a famous place that Jesus took a whole bunch of mongrels. Yeah, not the people who had it all together, but the people who were searching for something, the people who were longing for something. And he sits them down, and I can just see it. And he just reads out this famous passage in the Bible. This is what he said. You know, because he's talking about God. Everybody then knew about God and the God of light. And then they knew what Jesus said about himself, that he is the light. And it's kind of like the worst secret that Jesus kept. He gets them all in and he goes, yeah, I know God and you know me, I'm the light. But you are the light of the world. Yeah, you are. Everybody's going, what? A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. In dark places where we didn't have electricity and light all around us, when you were in darkness and you saw a city on a hill, man, it was a beacon of hope, of rest, of respite. Instead, these people, neither do people put a lamp and hide it under a bowl. No. Instead, they put it on a stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. You know this thing about light that we have? We're not supposed to keep it for ourselves. That's not the deal. When Jesus gets into the cracks in our lives and he changes us and transforms us from within, this is light that we're supposed to give away. It's supposed to be radiating out of our very lives and the things that we do. In the same way, let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. This weekend, we're going to talk about the most amazing story, the Easter story, because Jesus' life shone so very brightly that they try to kill the light. They try to snuff out the light. But it shone so brightly that 2,000 years later, we are all in this big auditorium wanting to celebrate the life that he lived. In the Easter story, we're going to talk about the life, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus. Maybe this weekend for you, maybe the lights will come on. Maybe you'll see something that you never saw before. Maybe it'll be in the times that we get together like this and maybe something a speaker said. Maybe it's something in the songs that are sung. Maybe it's something that your leaders said or in the conversations. Maybe the lights in your soul, your very soul, will switch on. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Do you know somebody that you can see and feel carries that sense of lightness? You know, there's something different about them. You can smell it, you can see it in the way that they are and the way that they act. Yeah, look out for it this weekend. Maybe your faith will be deepened. Maybe something in you will be transformed. Maybe you will encounter the living God this weekend if you're open to that, and something will change. See, here's the deal. We're all a little cracked and broken, yeah? But you got to remember, that's how the light